This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. Bernie Sanders calls for expanding Social Security by taxing the rich. When it comes to student loan forgiveness, President Biden trying to plan it out around midterm election, maybe get some votes, but Republicans don't think student loan forgiveness is a good idea. I'll play a video clip explaining why. I'll give you the latest stimulus news like this. Millions will get a stimulus check in June, and a second round of $500 stimulus checks going out next week. Lawmakers propose $200 gas checks, and then is a $1,400 stimulus check coming. Also, I'll give you an inflation report of what's going on. Is it going to continue to go up, maybe go down? And I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So Biden's Build Back Better has turned into Build Back Poorer for every American. So this article kind of bashes the Build Back Better, although the Build Back Better never went through. It's basically talking about high gas prices, baby formula shortages, inflation, and a few other things. But yeah, Build Back Better not really going anywhere as of now. We hear some closed or behind closed doors talks, but it doesn't seem like it's going on with Joe Manchin. So how the White House lost Joe Manchin and its plan to transform America. So this article on the Washington Post just basically talks about the timeline of Joe Manchin and what happened with the other plans, Build Back Better. At this point, we hear that there are conversations going on, but we don't know what is being talked about, if it's even close to a deal being done. But I'll keep you updated on that. When it comes to student loan forgiveness, Republicans slam Biden on student loan forgiveness and saying this right here: student loan debt forgiveness is a big transfer of wealth from poor working class to the rich. So basically saying that the poor people are paying taxes and that tax money is being used to help out, I guess, the working class to rich people with student loan forgiveness. What are your thoughts on student loan forgiveness? Is this a good idea, bad idea? So we've heard the Democrats talk about it. We've heard President Biden talk about student loan forgiveness. Here is the Republican perspective of why student loans forgiven is not a good idea. Take a look.
Becky, I'm trying to find merit in this proposed policy, and I can't. This is policy born in hell, and I'll tell you why. Nobody wins. What do you say to people for generations now that have realized, like everybody does, that education is not a right, it's a privilege? You make a decision as a young adult to pursue an education for a wide range of reasons, including advancing yourself in your career and your salary, et cetera, and that's proven to work. But you take on responsibilities, including student debt. So what do you tell people generations past that have actually paid back their debt? How about the people that are working so hard to get scholarships to excel? What do you tell them? Don't bother, it's free. How about the people that never had the opportunity to go to college? About 12% of the population has student debt. The other 88% have to pay for them. And then think about the politics of this. And this is what I find so extraordinary. Average salary in America, $58,000, depending on regions. You're telling these people this is a big problem. Meanwhile, you can't fill up your car. Chicken costs 48% more. And this is at the top of the agenda for the president. Can you imagine? This is manna from heaven for the Republican Party. In all these tight races coming into the midterms, this is going to be the issue that they get to campaign on. Why would you do this? This is a really, really bad idea and brings into question, and I'll ask my good friend John that maybe he can help us. Who is advising Biden? Who are his closest advisors? What planet are they on? It's not the planet Earth.
John, your take?
Well, Kevin, good morning. You had your coffee. I love you, man. What you should tell the people who are asking, why should I pay for this? And, I paid for this. You should tell them that their grandfather got it for free. It's called the GI Bill. That the white middle class came, and it was a white middle class because 98% of all the GI bills, unfortunately, went to Caucasians. Blacks were left out. But that money, which about equates, by the way, if you adjust for population, it's about
I'd argue
the money.
It wasn't for free if it was for service for your country during the war.
There you go. Well, we've had service for our country. The working class have been keeping us all in our homes Zooming for the last few years. This is a reinvesting in America. TARP wasn't just about managing a balance sheet, Kevin. It was about managing the psyche of this country. It was about managing Wall Street's expectation that the bottom wasn't falling out. And this last recent support through the Fed window, the same thing. This is about folks who are working class, who feel poor, who are middle class, who feel working class. And this actually cuts at the bottom. It says when prices are going up, here's one thing: $500 a month. By the way, is what $100,000 worth of student loan debt does to your paycheck out. This is something that actually the government can say, we're investing in you to boost your educational level, which will boost GDP. I'm actually sounding like a capitalist. You and I are the same here, Kevin. The best thing you can do is to invest in education and debt relief around education at the bottom of the pyramid right now. It needs to be done more surgically, Kevin. I'll give you that. It should be a rifle shot, not a shotgun.
Meaning that only people at much lower income levels should be getting this, or meaning that much bigger numbers should go to people at the much lower income levels?
The first thing, Becky. So a third of all of student loan debt is $35,000 or less. So if you do this at the bottom level, you're going to wipe out a third of all debt. And in some cases, all the debt, even including white rural communities and black and brown urban. Everybody's going to feel this because they're going to have this debt relief off their shoulders. Most of my clients don't finish college because of the debt and the cost. So this is sending a message of relief, actually, to those who got too much month at the end of their money. And so I think it needs to be compressed at the bottom of the pyramid, and by the way, the biggest folks building businesses right now, Becky, black folks. 38% pop in black-owned businesses in the last 2 years. They've left jobs that were dead end and go start a business. This frees people up more for that. This allows people, working class folks, to say, maybe I'll buy a home now for that $100,000. What's the down payment? 10 grand, Kevin. $10,000 is the down payment for the average.
John, I can't get there. We just printed $4.5 trillion over the last 2.5 years. We have helped everybody. This has nothing to do with gender or race. It has to do with equity. It's simply not fair. This idea is un-American by any measure. Everybody's uncomfortable with this. I can't find anybody that likes this idea. And I know, and I'm guessing right now, within the White House, as they discuss this going into the midterms, somebody's going to say, Mr. President, let's punt this. This is a horrible idea. Let's deal with it on the other side. Imagine the membership of the Democratic Party fighting these races. They're razor close and giving their competitor this manna from heaven. This is crazy. It's just politically insane. It's a kamikaze idea. Now is the wrong time for this. And by the way, there's never going to be a good time for this. This is un-American. There's no free money. That doesn't work this way. It's unfair to people that didn't go to college. You're asking people that never went to college to pay for this. It comes off their income tax. It's just wrong.
Definitely some good points were brought up there. Are you for student loan forgiveness? If student loans are forgiven, should there be other types of debt forgiven? Credit card debt, medical debt. Why just student loans? Why not other debt as well? Maybe if you have other debt that could be forgiven, would you be more okay with student loans being forgiven? Let me know your thoughts on that. So Bernie Sanders calls on expanding Social Security benefits by taxing the rich. What he says here, he announced at a Senate hearing that next week is focused on expanding Social Security as he and other defenders countered false and repeated Republican claims that popular program is headed towards insolvency. So supposedly it's funded until 2035. What it's saying here is our job is to save and expand Social Security by making the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share of taxes. In the richest country in the history of the world, no senior should live in poverty, and every American should be able to retire in dignity after a lifetime of hard work. This is not a radical idea. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, disagree with Bernie Sanders? So this upcoming week, I guess starting tomorrow, Monday, there's going to be more Senate hearings talking about expanding Social Security. So if you are on Social Security, pay attention this week. I'll give you more details on that. And then when it comes to stimulus news, millions will get a stimulus check in June. Are you one of them? So a few different programs going on here. Congress has not authorized a federal fourth stimulus check. Even though yesterday's video, there are pushes for monthly checks, but that was kind of like a universal basic income program. What's going on here? 2 states for June so far, official. Maine and New Mexico. So Maine giving out those $850 checks, and then New Mexico giving $250 for single filers, and joint filers will get $500 checks. So 2 official checks going on in June, or actually being sent in June. This month. And then second round of $500 stimulus checks go out next week in Massachusetts. So different type of stimulus check here. So about 300,000 low-income essential workers will receive $500 in relief checks next week from the Baker administration. Payments will be mailed to eligible Massachusetts residents beginning on Monday, tomorrow, as part of the COVID-19 Essential Employee Premium Pay Program. So these are going to workers in Massachusetts, $500 checks there. And then gas stimulus checks, lawmakers proposes $200 per person gas stimulus check. So this is on a state basis, still in the proposal phase, $200 checks going towards gas for anybody in North Carolina. Let me know, is that enough? Should this be a type of thing that should be on a federal level? Should more states do this type of thing, $200 gas checks? And then, is there a $1,400 stimulus check coming? Everything you need to know about stimulus payments in 2022. So $1,400 check. There's a few different type of proposal type of things. Social Security check, not really going out. Talks about the $2,000 payment that could be potential in Pennsylvania. And then a few other programs talking about Georgia, Hawaii, that are still in the proposal phase. So that's basically what this article is talking about. But I gave you all the concrete information before. And then when it comes to inflation, has U.S. inflation peaked? Are we going to start to see the light at the end of the tunnel with all these crazy high prices? Take a look at this video clip right here, talking more about what's going on with inflation and when it could stop.
Key point, Betsy, that President Biden makes. Inflation can hit you when things are down, and they can hit you when things are up, when the economy is moving quickly. It's just simply more people than the goods and services that are available. The president is making the argument that if we had to deal with inflation, which is bad, we are in a better place to deal with it than we could be.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's a good thing to have a job. It's a good thing to see wage growth. It's a good thing for people to see the enormous number of opportunities that are out there with employers having, just record numbers of job openings. What that means is that you really have the chance to look around and find the right job for you, one that's going to be a great match for your skills, that's going to provide you the wages you want, maybe live near family or friends, or people can provide childcare or relatives you need to give elder care to. It's a great time out there to get the job that you want. And so that's good for a lot of people. Now, this is also happening at a time when prices are rising, and that is hard on people, and there's no denying that. But, if we're looking at what's causing the price rises, we saw a clear link between Putin invading the Ukraine and gas prices starting to spike. And so there's not much the administration or the Fed can do about rising gas prices. That's just a pain we're all going to share. Obviously, the Fed needs to take some steps to bring inflation down, but realize that a lot of the things that are causing inflation is what you described. Supply, we don't have quite enough to meet demand. So what the Fed's going to try to do is tamp down our demand by raising interest rates. And, that's kind of a thing that's got to work across the board. It's not going to necessarily solve the direct problems of high energy prices.
It's not a stiletto. It's a sledgehammer. And part of the problem here is that they use a lot of data. Economists like you and the Fed, they study data. But it is as much art as science. What's the danger here? What are people worried about? That the Fed's been pretty clear this week. Yet another Fed official came out and said, we'll get this. We will tackle inflation. And Betsy, the truth is they can. There is a way. Inflation can be solved. The problem is the Fed can try and solve it so hard that we end up in a recession.
Right. Well, so the whole thing the Fed's trying to do is make sure that demand is not greater than supply. So they can bring demand down. Now, the problem is they bring demand down a lot, and then we end up in a recession. So they want to bring it down just enough, the right amount. That's why you hear a lot of people talking about this sort of Goldilocks economy. We want to see them bring demand down enough that we get rid of some of that pressure on prices, but not so much that people start losing their jobs. And that can be a tough place for them to land. That's actually why they move slowly. You don't want them raising rates really rapidly all in one meeting. You like this sort of 50 basis points at a time. Let's see how the economy's cooling. Let's make sure we don't cause a lot of job loss, but we do need to get prices down. The way to do that is to get people to basically spend less.
Are you worried about some kind of a switch, changing in the economy where people go from, all right, I'm buying stuff, I'm finding it a bit expensive, I'm a bit unhappy about it, into suddenly credit card interest rates, mortgage rates, all of these things skyrocketing to the place that everybody shuts down for a while? Is that a harder hole to dig yourself out of than having inflation that's too high?
Well, I think one thing I just want to be clear about is, inflation hurts a lot of people. People don't like it, but it is a shared pain. Unemployment really hurts the people who lose their jobs. And it's actually more of a disproportionate knock on those who are the ones who lose their jobs, who get laid off, who get pushed out of the labor market. There are two different kinds of pains, but I think we should stop.
This is an interesting point. So every one of us feels inflation. Every one of us doesn't feel unemployment. If 8% of the population is unemployed, the rest of us don't feel it.
Exactly. So I do think that that's worth keeping in mind. And I think that's why we don't want to move too quickly. What we need to do is make sure that people can believe that the Fed can bring down rates so we don't start to adjust our inflation expectations.
So what do you think? Is inflation finally going to turn around, or things are going to get better? It's not looking too good, at least in the short term. It could be months, could be another year or so. We just don't know. Anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hey guys, this is the tip of the day. Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. When you do something, and you don't learn, you will be a better person. If you learn, then you'll grow up and be more better at things that you learn. That's all I want to get the information to you. Guys, see you in the next tip of the day, and be safe. See you in the next tip of the day.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your time and support. So yesterday was a big cleaning day, got the cars washed, did a bunch of errands around the house. It rained, so I couldn't do the lawn and stuff, but that's going to be done for today. I guess that's what the weekends are for, to do all the fun adult stuff. Weird story, I was cleaning out the car, messing around with the car vacuum, and all of a sudden I see blood on my hand. I'm like, oh, is this someone else's blood? And then I realized my finger was bleeding. I didn't even feel it or anything. It just got clipped in the vacuum there. But anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here, my other channels, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.